All right, let's talk about grading the Chicago Blackhawks during the pause. Now, before I get started, I just want to ask you to please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which will be about the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, last team I graded was the Colorado Avalanche there. I'm grading these teams in reverse alphabetical order, and I'll put up a few links up top around here over the next few minutes for the last recent clubs that I've graded, so you can click on them at your leisure. Of course, you can also find them in my playlist quite easily. Now, the Blackhawks. Probably one of my top 10 favorite teams in the league. And Stan Bowman kind of frustrates me a little the past few seasons. I don't know what he's doing. He's just going east and west, left and right. The team obviously needs a proper retool. And I'm just not even sure what he knows what's going on right now. And I think he's on the hot seat. But I mean, he made some savvy decisions, like bringing in some veteran defensemen, in the offseason, like Calvin Dahan, who got injured, and then he brought in Andrew Shaw. You bring the band back together again. Why? Giving up a second, third, and seventh round pick for him. Yoki Haru sending him to Buffalo in exchange for Alexander Nylander. I kind of understand that because Yoki Haru's a right shot D man who definitely has a lot of potential, but they have a lot of defensive prospects right now who they felt they just needed more offense, and he was expendable. And they brought in Alexander Nylander, thought that he would be Dylan Strome Part 2, even though he had a little bit of a rough year this season. And yeah, there's stuff like that he did. I mean, at least he traded Eric Gustafsson away to the Calgary Flames, which was good for a third round pick, okay. And then traded Robin Lehner, for which you're either going to re-sign the guy and just completely believe in the retool, the cheat code that you're trying to use, and go for it, even though they're really tied up against the cap, which is a reason why they might have not done that. Who knows if they re-sign Crawford or not? If not, it can't be for as much money. But they don't, for when it comes to Leonard, they only got Savan Demon, who's ranked 6th on their prospect list, and a second round pick. I didn't see that as being enough at all. And if you're gonna retool before Kane and Taves age out, when they still have some, before their play falls off a cliff, you have to do it sooner rather than later. Stop messing around. And yeah, there it is. How do they do this season? Sort of exactly how I thought they would in my season preview. They played okay, had 2 really rough months, but ended the season decently before the pause. I mean, they won their last game, were 6-4-0 in their last 10, ended off with 72 points, last in the Central, which is arguably one of the toughest in the league, next to the Metro, and they're 6 points out of a playoff spot. Of course, now they're in with a new 24-team format, but you know what I mean. They're 6 points out of the last wild card spot there. So yeah, now when it comes to some stats that I'm going to throw at your face, let's start with the special teams. Now their power play is 28th in the league. It was 15th last year. You see where this offense has kind of dried off. You had 4 players who had career years in Taves, Kane, DeBrincat, and Strome, and each of them lost between 13 and over 30 points. So that kind of really hit hard, even with players like Kubalik, who played fantastically in his first year in the NHL. But yeah, now the penalty kill was 9th in the league. That vastly improved because of the defense and the goaltending. It was 31st last season. Wins, they were 23rd. Points, they were 23rd. Goals for, they were 18th this season. They were 8th last season. Goals against, they were 16th this season, 30th last season. Face-off win percentage, they're 17th. Shots against, last in the league, allowing 35.1 shots a game. Shots for, they were 13th in the league. Now, some quick points for you here. Patrick Kane placed 8th on the NHL leading scorers list with 84 points. The next closest Chicago Blackhawk was Taves, who ranked at 41st with 60 points. Kane is also 6th in the NHL with shots on net. Then there's Dominik Kubalik, first-year NHLer, who was 7th in the NHL in shooting percentage at 19.1 with players with a minimum of 100 shots. That's amazing. I don't think he's going to be able to keep that up. more on him in a bit. Now, where am I? Duncan Keith, who's 36 years old now, was 12th in the NHL in average ice time per night. I think the only guys close to him in age who are in that top 12, I want to say, are Brent Burns and Ryan Suter. And then last little bit here, Taves has taken the second most faceoffs in the league, right after Ryan O'Reilly, and is 8th in the faceoff win percentage. Now, injuries, they've had their share this season. Cap Friendly has Seabrook and DeHaan as on the LTIR. And then there's Boqvist, their right shot defenseman, and Kugula, who are out at least until June 15th. And Zach Smith is out till September 1st. Now, let's talk about some of the players and their stats, starting with the goaltenders. Let's begin with Corey Crawford. He's 35 this year. He'll be 36 in December, and his contract ends this season, making $6 million. Will they resign him? Who knows? I hope they don't give him nearly as much. We'll see. This guy gets one more concussion. That's his career, I would think. Now, in 40 games, he had a .917 save percentage. He bounced back quite nicely this year, partly because of the upgrade in defense they had. In 39 games last year, he had a .908. Maybe it helped having Robin Leonard to push him. Of course, Robin Leonard was traded to the Golden Knights, as I mentioned, 6'4", 240 pounds. Impressive. He was 28 years old, 29 in July, and maybe he just wanted too much money. They couldn't come to an agreement on a contract. Chicago doesn't have a lot of cap space. I think they're at around $72 million for the beginning of next year, so it's not much. In 33 games, Leonard had a .918 save percentage. Pretty good. And in 3 games with the Vegas Golden Knights, he has a .940. Be interesting to see who starts, Fleury or Leonard. That's another video. All right, Malcolm Subban, who they got back for Leonard in that trade as a backup, 6'2", 215 pounds. He's 26, 27 in December. And how many years does he have left on his contract? Is he in his last year? Yeah. It's just one season. I don't see them re-signing him. He didn't play any games for them, and in 20 games with the Vegas Golden Knights was an .890 save percentage. His best year was in the inaugural year of the Golden Knights, where he had a .910 save percentage. I don't know what happens to him next season. Let's talk about defense and their top point getters here. Starting with Duncan Keith. He's 36 years old, played 61 games, 3 goals, 27 points. Their best defensive point leader has 27 points. Yeah, that's a big problem. They were +1. He averages 24, 23 a game, most of the team, obviously. Their second in point getter on defense isn't even a Blackhawk anymore. He's a Calgary Flame, and that's Eric Gustafsson, who had 27 in 59 games, had 6 goals, 26 points. Excuse me. Was a -8, worst on the defense, and averaged 20-40 a game. Have some vodka there. Now, I'm not going to list any more defensemen. No one even comes close. Everything's under 20 points. I will mention Calvin DeHaan quickly, the 28-year-old in 29 games. Of course, he injured his shoulder, went down with shoulder surgery, had 6 points, was a +10, best on the team. Now, before we get to forwards, I want to talk about Adam Boqvist pretty quickly and some other prospects. Now, he's 19 years old, 5'11", 180 pounds, right shot defenseman. He played 41 games with the team, 4 goals, 13 points, -3. He also played 15 games in the AHL with 6 points, +2. He'll be an important piece for the future. Obviously, I would think he plays alongside Keith next season. And then Nicholas Bowden, who's ranked number 2 in their prospect pool list. He's a left shot defenseman. He's 20 years old. He'll be 21 in October, though, 5'11", just over 170 pounds. And he only played 1 game this year for the Blackhawks. No points, +1. In 59 games in the AHL, had 3 goals, 15 points, -5. I think he might need another year of marinating in the AHL. I also wanted to touch on Lucas Carlson. He's ranked number 3 on their prospect pool. The left shot defender is 22 years old. He'll be 23, though, in July. 6 foot, 190 pounds. and he played 6 games for them, had 1 point, +3 in 48 games in the AHL with the Rockford Ice Hogs, had 5 goals, 26 points, +3, quite respectable. He's one of their most reliable defensemen. I think this guy has a decent shot at making the team next season. Now, let's talk about forwards and their point leaders, starting with Patrick Kane. 31 years old, played 70 games, all their games, I believe. 33 goals, most on the team, 84 points. Was a +8, the best amongst all forwards, and averaged 21-20 ice a game. That's second on the team after Duncan Keith, obviously. Second on this list is Taves, who also at 31 and 70 games, had 18 goals, 60 points, -2, averaged 19.47 a game. These two guys had about 20 to 30 less points this year. So, yeah, and still, that's, decent for 70 games. Then there's Kubalik, who's third on this list, who came out of nowhere from the Swiss League and the Czech Republic League. 24 years old, had played 68 games, 30 goals, playing third-line minutes, 46 points, +2, averaged 14.22 a game. Wow, he's an RFA. What do they sign him for? Let me know in the comments section below, because I haven't a clue. DeBrincat is fourth on the team in points, 22 years old, played 70 games, 18 goals, 45 points, -10. I want to say that's tied for worst on the team. Averaged 17.30 a night. Now, he signed a 3-year contract extension worth $6.4 million. And in 12 less games this season, he had over 30 less points. 23 less goals. Yeah, that hurts their stats, right? And then next, and the last person I have on this list is Dylan Strome, the second line center there, who they made the trade from the Arizona Coyotes last season. He's 22 years old, still very young, played 58 games, the same amount as he did last year, had 12 goals, 38 points, +1, averaged 15.56, centering that second line. Now, he's an RFA with no arbitration rights at the end of the season, and as I mentioned, playing the same amount of games, he had 13 less points this season. Can the real Dylan Strome stand up, please? What do you pay him to? I don't know. Now, some other players I wanted to quickly mention was Alexander Nylander, who they traded from the Buffalo Sabres for. 6'1", 192 pounds, 22 years old, had a birthday in March. He's a right-shot winger. And in 65 games, he had 10 goals, 26 points, -2. He's still young. Still young. In 12 games for Buffalo last season, he had 4 points, -4. In the AHL, in 49 games last season, he had 12 goals, 31 points, +11. I think there's a player there. I just think he's going to take some more time. We'll see where they put him in the lineup next season. I think he was playing some second-line minutes. And then I want to briefly touch on some high prospects, starting with Brandon Hagel, who's ranked... Where are you, Hagel? Hagel! He's ranked 8th on their prospect list, their top 10. Now, he's a 21-year-old left winger. He'll be 22, though, in August. He's 6 foot, 160 pounds. Soaking wet. Now, he only played 1 game for them, but in 59 games in the AHL this season, had 19 goals, 31 points, ± was 0. Respectable. We'll see. Maybe he needs another year of marinating. He is... he's not... Yeah, he's only 20. Yeah, he's 21, 22. He's not that old, so... and then lastly, John Quenneville. He's a center and left winger. 24 years old now. They got him from the New Jersey Devils. He just had a birthday in April, 6'1", just under 200 pounds. And he played 9 games for them, no points, -1. 36 games in the AHL, 13 goals, 22 points, +4. He's ranked 4th on their prospect pool list. Maybe he can break the team next year on a bottom 6 role. We'll see how that goes. How do I grade this team? I'm going to give them a C-. They're kind of exactly where I thought they would be when I did a season preview about them. Last in the Central, and they wouldn't be in the playoffs, obviously, if it wasn't for this 24-team format. And I just think Stan Bowman has got to do something, be real with this team, and start a proper retool. That's just my opinion, though. I'm probably nuts. I would love to hear what you have to say about this team in the comments section down below, especially their grade. And that's it. That's all. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And in this crazy world we're living in, please stay safe out there. And if you can, stay at home. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.